Okay, this is the same before, but in the single-threaded version. In fact, before we even fly, let's just go in external view here and cheat. I just want to see if the those wind turbines are turning. Where are they? Oh no, okay. So what makes them turn? Does there have to be more wind? It's all kind of frozen up on me now. Hello. Chunky. There we go. Okay, well, so it wasn't that. What is making that not work? They used to spin. All right. Well, maybe in that case we should go back to the multi-threaded. I'm going to stick with the single here for one flight. Yeah. Back on the Huey. Close the doors, and yeah, you need to look around before motion gets smooth. That never happened before. I might need to experiment with my preload radius setting. That might affect that. Open doors. Leroy and Elroy and auto. Battery. Bad sound. Fuel. Hydraulics and force trim. Warm up the IFF for... yeah, that's what that is. Countermeasures. Weapons. Rockets. Doot. Radio 2. Transmit. Receive and guard. Let's just bring these up to... there. And, yeah, you, doop. Throttle all the way up. Throttle all the way down. Starter switch. See how the lights go off when the starter's on? Once we get to N, yeah, it's kind of chunky. Like before, when I would zoom in and out, it would be smooth. And after I do it once, it's smooth, but it's that first time. Now I can release the thing. Dome light came back on. I don't want it anyway. Off. External lights on. Oh, throttle up. Inverter. Standby generator. Radar altimeter. Oh, I remember something I forgot last time. Is there a brightness control for this? Because man, that is bright. Right, are we aligned? There we go. It's just a little bit off. And once again, searchlight, landing light on. Use my joystick hat to control the searchlight. There it is. Over there. Okay. Go for a little fly. This time we're heading to the city in the south. Oops. Sorry, I still have this stupid branding up. I'll get used to this someday. There we go. Oh, and now I've lost input focus on the sim. What causes that? How could just changing screen resolutions and adding a second screen cause me to lose input focus in the sim? It makes no sense. Graphics changes shouldn't affect the controllers. And also, input focus, you know, I could, obviously I expect to lose keyboard and mouse focus if I switch to another app, because the other app needs the keyboard and the mouse. But this is the only thing I'm running that uses the game controller, so it's not like It's not like something else is stealing it, putting it in an exclusive mode or something. Don't know. It's a mystery. Again, we're getting little micro freezes. And yeah, similar frame rate before in the mid-20s. So no real obvious advantage. Obviously I'm GPU bound. So yeah, the fact that I'm not CPU bound would kind of indicate that multi-threading doesn't have, that CPU multi-threading anyway, doesn't really have anything to add. Because my CPU isn't saturated even if it's running mostly on one core. And yeah, it shouldn't kick up quite so much dust when you're on the move like this. That's as much dust as it kicks up when you hover. Also on the move, the dust should be more behind you than it is. I know it's a little bit, but pretty much I should be in front of the dust. Because I'm going 110 knots. What's that, like 125 miles per hour? Something like that? Not slow. Why are they driving on the wrong side of the road? They drive on the right side of the road in South America, don't they? Or are these two separate highways? Because this guy's going the right way. And here's one coming at me on, oh no, on the same. Yeah, it is. It's like it's two parallel two-lane highways. It's a little weird. And has there been any traffic on the left-hand side here? One more frame rate check. So now it's like what? Does that say? Oh, does that say 18 or 38? Sorry, it's a little hard for me to read. Again, my resolution is lower than you see it. You can actually read this stuff better than I can. Whoop. Those 90-degree corners that the cars take aren't so great. The actual AI vehicles don't do that, but the automated civilian traffic does. 17 frames. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not seeing that huge optimization that was promised. Again, I have a feeling it's probably a limitation of the relatively low 8 gigabytes of VRAM I have on my 1080 card. I bet if I get to an 11 gigabyte 1080 Ti, which I sometimes think about swapping this card for, plus a little cash, that might clear up. Because what seems to happen is once you run out of video memory for the textures for a given scene, it has to start swapping textures back and forth to the host, and that's when things dramatically drop off in frame rate. Yeah, this is hard to fly. What are we getting now? 15. And this is as low a frame rate as I ever get anywhere in DCS. So it's still the worst performing map. I'm not saying they didn't optimize it, but whatever they did didn't do the trick for me. What is that building? It looks kind of like it's kind of like in that last Suicide Squad movie where they were keeping the monster. Starro the Conqueror. I kind of like that monster. As space monsters go, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, this is weird. I guess it's a shiny glass building. Looked more like some kind of fortress or something. First pass. Can I land on it? I guess everybody wants to know that. Right on the edge of our... Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's go away and come back. Actually, with this frame rate, I'm not even going to try it too hard. If I had frames, it would be easy, but this is chunky. It's kind of disappointing. I was hoping this map had become a bit more playable. It's okay in the countryside, but once you get into the big city, it bogs down. What I want to do is see the transition between the water rotor wash and the land rotor wash. Hopefully without crashing this time. Okay, so here's the water effect. Let's get a little farther away. There. Oh, don't freeze now. The lights in the water with the deep blue is kind of cool. I like that. Go sub-hunting. Now let's look at the transition here. There it goes. Yeah, there's kind of a nothing gap there. That is a nitpick. I can live with that. It doesn't have to be like half water, half dust. I'm fine with it switching. Although, you know, if you did it right, every particle would just be based on what the material directly underneath it is. And again, if the grass is wet, we really shouldn't be kicking up a bunch of dust. And certainly the dust should dissipate after a little while. And it used to. So, better overall effect, but okay, now can we make it go away? Because after an hour of sitting here, I should not be giving myself away. Like if there's a jet fighter up there hunting for me, he's gonna see me. That's pretty easy to spot. Okay, let's take it home and then we'll do something else. Is there anybody out there? Say hi in the chat if you are. I'll follow this car. Back to home base. Truck. Oh, we're gonna overtake him. There we go. Yep. Trying to match his speed. Right about there, I think. Oop. Ah. It'll take all day if we go at his speed. Frames are coming up a bit as the city thins out. Woo! Oh yeah, there's this boulevard kind of thing here. The street lights look great. It's a really good looking effect now. And nighttime looks quite good in DCS for the last year or so as well. It's good that we finally have that. For so long it just looked like hell. Oh, that's cool. The street lights are lighting the interior of my cockpit. Is that new? Might be. Yeah, it's a bit much. I know they're proud of their new effect, but time to dial it back a little. Well, and this is the thing, you can't dial anything back, or some fanboy will beg to have it maximized again. like the engine model for this that they've changed. I'm using the old engine model. I've made a Lua edit to do that. But the new engine model is overpowered, and now everybody's going to cry if they ever fix it. A lot of players of this sim seem to think it's an accomplishment if you make the virtual aircraft do something the real world aircraft can't. It's like, it's not. It's the object is to match the real world, not to exceed it. It's not like there's real world physics going on. Each aircraft carries its own flight model around with it. It's not negotiating with the world to figure out where it goes. It's too bad. That's how it should work, but for reasons that are understandable, they chose to do it this way. And that does let them have things like excellent helicopter flight models and excellent aircraft flight models. But then you also end up with aircraft with not such great flight models, and a lot of them that fly like they're on rails. Like the Razbam Harrier, like the Heatblur, the Vigan flies like it's on rails. The Tomcat is super lively, it's great, but the Vigan just feels dead to me. Can't get with that module. I want to, it's a cool aircraft. Oh, and one more thing. The flares now persist on the ground. Again. Like, for the first time in a year. They were doing it for a little while last year. And then I don't know where that went, but it's gone. And now it's back. With no mention of it in the changelog. But there's also this lousy animation. You see how it seems like the flares have a low frame rate compared to the rest of the sim? Yeah, okay. This is another thing. There shouldn't be a whole bunch of dust on the roads. A little, but it should change. If you're over a sandy beach, then sure, it should blow dust all day. Over a wet road? No, not so much. Should kick up a little bit of mist. This is the thing Eagle Dynamics aren't really good at. They have artists who can make good 3D models, but they don't really have someone in between who's an artist and a coder who can do scripted stuff like the particle effects and things like that. I mean, they do them, but they don't have an artistic eye. They look not great. Compare it to another flight sim like IL-2, for example, where the effects, the explosions, trees, all look way better than in DCS. Even though they're actually, for the most part, far lower resolution objects than DCS has. DCS has a lot of polygons, but doesn't use them so effectively. Okay, this must be home base from the blue lights. These taxiways. Yep, this is where we came from. Let's just take a little tour of the base first. Or maybe I can practice an auto rotation. Yeah, we can try that. Trying to get some nice screenshots. Okay, we're going to head back out to sea and climb. A little further out. Yeah, there's 1,000 feet. Do it from about 1,500. Maybe a little higher. Before we even start, I'm going to reset the trim because I've discovered that messes up my auto rotations if I'm trimmed for cruise. Now we're going to chop the throttle and dump the collective at the same time. Keep the nose up to keep the rotor RPM up. That's good. Now the needles don't really split. I thought they're supposed to. Nose up. So it's just our falling out of the sky that's keeping the rotor going now. I could turn the engine right off if I wanted to. This is how you glide a helicopter into a safe landing if you lose power. Full collective now. Okay. Get down. There we go. So yeah, that's how you throttling back up. Oh, there it goes. Yep. Don't. Boom. I had collective pull. My fault. There, I saved our lives. One thing I'm curious about is the voice chat. I probably need to change some settings for that. In fact, let's do that before I shut down this version. Fortunately, or at least conveniently for what I usually want, the multi-threaded version and the single thread share the same settings. It would be super annoying if you had to set up the same settings in both. Some helipads. So let's see if we can put it inside the hangar. I'm sure we can. Okay, we're in the garage, and I think I have enough room for my tail boom there. Yeah, we do. Alright. Now, does it kick up dust in here? No. Interesting. So, some surfaces don't make dust then. Okay. Well, that means that it can be dealt with on the maps. Interesting that the roads do, but the tarmac doesn't. Let's just verify that one more time. It could just be that the roads are maybe too thin and there's terrain next to them. What happens if I go on the tarmac and sit right next to the grass? Okay, the grass blows. That's good. No dust. Now if I put the center of the helicopter over the grass, will the dust suddenly start? Oops. What are these red things? Flowers? I guess so. Poppies. So once again, no dust. What if I go over on this stuff? That is cool with the blowing grass. I like that, and I like the trees and the bushes blowing in the rotor wash. Like this guy here, let's really blow him. That looks okay. Yeah, that's a good improvement. Approve of that for sure. And yeah, where does the dust start? Is it like when you leave the airbase grounds? That wouldn't make much sense. Okay, I gotta get over these trees here. Yeah, that's so cool. And yeah, this is dusty, but the airfield isn't. Interesting. Anyway, again, that probably means this can be dealt with at the map design level. It's an attribute of the terrain surface. Meep, meep. And yeah, that's just a little too obvious. You know, if it's there for 15 seconds, for 30 seconds, that's fine. But if if every time you land a helicopter, you get a giant circle around you, it's gonna make you way too easy to find. Is there a parking lot or something. I guess not. We'd have to go back to the town. Okay. Should I shut her down? Okay, let's do that. Throttle down. Low RPM audio. Inverter off. U back to start. U to off. Off, off, off. Off, off, off. Radio off. Leave that. Leave the lights on. Oh, I didn't use my pitot heat this time. It's not good. What's the temperature? 10 degrees. Okay. Now to shut down the engine, we press this button, which lets the throttle go further down to cut off. You're supposed to let it cool down for like 5 minutes, but that's real life. And then I'm going to shut off the fuel. Turn off all the lights. That guy goes to standby. And that's how you shut down the Huey. Whoops. Did I forget anything? Just the battery. Which is here. Cold and dark again. No rotor brake in the Huey, but when it gets slow you can pull some collective and slow it down a little faster. Like so. Oh, and that's good. I've seen in the past sometimes when you pull collective when it's slow, the rotor animation goes up as if it's pulling a lot of torque. Good. Okay, what now? Let's go make some of those changes I was talking about.